The Galactic Census Report had one glaring flaw. It assumed Earth was still bound by its last known ship count. 1,912 war-capable vessels, said Grand Strategist Vex, reading the line aloud with a sneer. What is this? Prehistoric fiction? The others laughed. They always laughed when Earth was mentioned. No one noticed the silence that followed. Not until Ambassador Kyre of the Tarshian Collective leaned forward and said, "Then why is Section 429 Human Exclusion Zone showing gravitational lensing? Anomalies the size of moons?" The laughter didn't just stop. It died. "And why?" Kyre continued slowly. "Is that data being scrubbed every 6 hours by a Terran satellite that should have gone offline 2 centuries ago?" No one answered. Because suddenly the room was colder. Someone coughed. A chair squeaked. And the holomap above them zoomed in on the solar border. Black space. Then distortion. Run a hard scan. Vex barked. "Already did," whispered the Kernic tech. It bounced, as if something looked back. Another silence, not the awkward kind. The kind that feels like breath being held galaxy-wide. "They don't have stealth tech like that," said one admiral. Voice thin. Kyre looked up. "No," he said. "They have something worse. They have history." 10 hours later, on a dead frequency once used for cargo relays, a signal pulsed from within Earth's exclusion zone. Not a message, not even a frequency. Stamped. Just coordinates. To empty space. Except when those coordinates were run through old Terran encryption logs decommissioned. For over 100 years they translated to 4 simple words: "We are still building." The council called an emergency session. Earth didn't answer, because Earth didn't have to. The last time they spoke, they'd said this: "We'll be quiet now, for your safety, no threats." No boasts. Just the promise of absence. It hadn't been taken seriously then. Now, no one was laughing. Commander Sora Vance stood inside the orbital dry dock over Pluto. Behind her, a planetary shadow shifted. Not a moon, not an asteroid. The hull was matte black, layered in heat-eating plates, shaped with unnatural symmetry, more sculpture than structure. The vessel was at least the size of Mars, and it was waking up. Its name glowed faintly along the spinal column in Terran GLYPHS. Titan-IX. No one had seen the first 8, because no one was supposed to. But the 9th? The 9th had purpose. And unlike every other ship Earth ever built, this one was meant to be seen. "Systems online," the AI said softly behind her. "Throat cannons charging. Core heartbeat nominal. Internal gravity stable. Silence protocol disabled. Status of observation feeds?" Sora asked, watching the dark surface ripple with internal lights. The AI responded after a pause. "They're watching. All of them? 73 species. 33 governments. 4 council heads. 2 rogue empires. And they're afraid." Sora exhaled slowly. "Then it's working." A sudden spike of plasma arced around the ship's equator-venting fields. Gravity flex. Dimensional stabilization. It looked like the death of a star caught in slow motion. One of the station crew watching from a distant control deck whispered, "This wasn't meant for war." Sora didn't turn. "No," she said. "This was meant for remembrance, so they'll never forget what happens when you push silence." Back on the Galactic Council's core world, panic had shifted from whisper to riot. Fleet deployment orders were flying so fast their servers began to overheat, and in the center of it all, Ambassador Kyre simply stared at the long-range feed of Titan-X in stunned, horrified silence. "It's not just a warship," he said at last. Vex rounded on him. "Then what is it?" Kyre's voice cracked. "It's proof that we were never ready, that we've never seen Earth at full strength." That all this time they were playing dead and digging forward. He pointed at the screen. That thing doesn't just carry weapons. It is a weapon. Its orbit bends time. Its skin deflects thought-based scans. It has no exhaust ports because it eats its own radiation. The image flickered. Titan X was turning, its forward cannons aligned with nothing except the Council's direction, except deep space dot and then one blink of light dot, just a flicker dot, and a moon that wasn't on any chart vanished dot, no flash. No beam, no impact recoil dot, just gone. Was that? Vex stumbled back. That wasn't an attack, was it? The Tarshian ambassador laughed quiet, broken. No, he said. That was a demonstration. Silence fell again, because this time the silence hurt. Back at Pluto, inside the command deck of Titan X, the AA pulsed quietly. Signal received. It said .SOR nodded. Send the reply. A short burst leapt through space. The Council intercepted it immediately. 4 more words. Now you understand silence. And then Earth went dark again. But this time, no one dared laugh because now they knew. When the void speaks, it doesn't shout it hums and across Sector 9X. The hum had begun. 3 light hours beyond the Helios Rift, an exploration vessel from Misarn Dominion drifted near the invisible edge of Terran space. No markings, no patrols, no warning beacons, just nothing. Nothing at all until now. Captain, the sensor officer whispered, there's a pressure. Not physical, more like presence. The captain didn't turn. That's not possible. I know. That's why I'm afraid. Outside the viewport, the stars dimmed slightly, not eclipsed, not blocked, just muted as if reality itself was squinting. And then, without sound, the ship powered down, completely. Reboot main core. The captain barked, panic rising. No response. Not from engines. Not from systems. Not even from internal lights. Only one thing stayed alive. A single auxiliary feed showing one image. A silhouette. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a station. It was a curved shadow, horizon-sized, crawling with lights like embers behind a curtain of void. Planet-size. Again. On board, I tried to run comparison structure types. Engine trails, heat signatures, nothing matched. No. Architecture, no propulsion system, no known biology, no language. And yet, the feeling was unmistakable. Everyone on board felt it. A gaze from something older, something watching. Then the auxiliary feed flickered and was replaced by 4 words. You are trespassing. Leave. The message looped once. Then the ship regained. Full power sensors, nav, even gravity repulsors, all back online. Not hacked. Not damaged. Just paused. That's what frightened the crew most. The thing hadn't needed to break them. It chose not to. Back in the Dominion core worlds, the captain submitted a full report. Classified. Urgent. It vanished from the military database within 48 minutes. And when the captain asked for a follow-up command, she was reassigned to agricultural fleet duty. No explanation. Just a single order embedded in the memo. Do not speak of Earth again. But the news spread anyway through whispers and encrypted memes. Late-night black market trader calls. Earth had a new deterrent, and it didn't fire weapons. It erased presence. 2 weeks later, the Renari Merchant Coalition, greedy and notoriously reckless, sent a convoy toward the same coordinates. 16 freighters. 2 destroyer escorts. Automated. They disappeared. Not destroyed. Not scattered. Just gone from the map. Every tracker went dark at the same second. Every ship's final log was cut off mid-word. The last sentence ever spoken was from an escort AI, transcribed from recovery echo logs. visual contact with. It's not a ship. It's a then static Galactic blacksite analyst tried decoding the echoes. All they recovered were fragments of old human music. Beethoven. Mozart. A slow cello tremor echoing under the static like a funeral dirge. And beneath, the melody looped again in faint modulation. No species enters. In the council chamber, panic gave way to fury. They've weaponized space itself, barked Admiral Krylos of the Brathel Pact. No known technology can mute quantum positionals across 6 freighters. Vex pounded his staff against the chamber floor. This is unacceptable. We mock their weakness, and in return this? Ambassador Krylos said nothing. He just stared at the growing stack of missing fleet reports. Sectors blacking out one by one. Always near the exclusion zone. Always without a trace, and always followed by the same thing. Silence. Until now, because Titan X had moved. A scout beacon sent blindly by a civilian science probe caught just enough of a signal before melting. Frame. Just one frame of a ship coasting through deep space, larger than most moons, trailing void ribbons behind it like a whale in still water. Not armored. Not shielded. Just untouchable. And written across its belly, clear even in motion blur: Titan-X. Earth had built another one, or perhaps this was always there, and they were simply showing it now. Sora Vance stood inside the nerve center of Titan-X. No bridge. No crew chairs. Just a wide obsidian deck that pulsed with data AI interfaced directly into her neural links. You're being watched, the AI whispered, neutral and calm. Let them watch, she replied. Below her, the ship pulsed again. Heatless tremors. Internal field shifts. The ship wasn't moving through space, it was folding space around itself, bypassing inertia, threading gravity like a needle through silk. Any council comes? She asked. One intercepted, the AI said. But it's encrypted. Don't break it. Why not? Because they'll scream louder when they realize we could have. That's when the AI blinked. New signal detected. Where? Behind us. Sora froze. Titan X had no rear blind spot. No weapon gaps. No latency delay. To appear behind it meant, it's human, the AI said. Another Titan class. Sora turned slowly to the deck view. And there it was. Larger. Angular. Painted not in black, but in red, a matte crimson vessel crawling with planetary defense. Arrays and kinetic lance rings so massive they orbited the ship itself. Designation? She asked. AI paused. Then? Titan Z. Earth had built a third, and still. No one had seen the first 8. On the 6th day of silence, the galaxy finally started to panic. The outer colonies of the Threx Union had always operated on edge-mining gas giants, pushing trade lanes through uncharted gravity wells, but even they had never seen nothing. No signal. No distress beacon. No logs. Just ships that left and didn't come back. And the closer those departures got to the Terran boundary line, the faster the disappearances happened. It was like the void had teeth. Councilman Vor leaned over the holotable, eyes sunken. 5? More convoys. 4 research probes. 2 war-hardened scouts. Gone. And the media? Asked General Cax of the Juvana regime. They still think Earth is a backwater, undeveloped jungle world. Good, Cax grunted. Because if they knew the truth, they'd riot. Vor gestured to the table center. A grainy, half-corrupted image hovered, planet-sized, curvature, blistering red heat cores, orbital rings made from broken, asteroid belts weaponized, and something worse, artificial gravity tides capable of folding smaller ships into themselves like paper caught in a storm drain. The humans didn't just build a warship, Vor muttered. They built a world that hunts. No one spoke, because this wasn't military doctrine anymore. It was mythology. And now, mythology had engines. The orbit of Glinter 5 fractured without warning. A convoy of 28 civilian freighters, escorted by 3 royal destroyers, blinked. Out mid-jump across the fringe vanished with 0 recoil shock. Galactic radar stations only caught the aftermath, their destination point, imploding like a candle being snuffed out from within. That's when they saw it again. Titan-Z. Except it was different now. Its outer plating had changed, reflecting nebula radiation like ocean waves. A ship that adjusted its surface logic to match space-time, and behind it, 2 more signals, neither labeled, neither matching any known fleet architecture. Were planetary mass. And moving fast. The council erupted into chaos. Do we strike Earth directly? One diplomat roared. With what? Another barked. Our fleets disappear just by observing their edge, Cax stood. We do what they've never expected. Vor narrowed his eyes. Which is? We ask for peace. Silence followed. And then laughter. Cold, ironic, fractured laughter, until someone finally said what they were all thinking. They don't want peace. They've been quiet for a reason. 3 days later, the council sent a high-priority diplomatic envoy. Unarmed. Encrypted. Loaded with cultural artifacts, genetic medicine samples, shared star maps. Everything humanity had once begged to be part of. The ship reached Terran space, and returned. Untouched. On board was one single change, a message. No visual, no sound, just text etched into the metal of the pilot's seat in what looked like plasma-scorch handwriting. We are not angry, we are not cruel, but we are done explaining ourselves. A second note beneath it. Your borders have shifted. Do not enter again. That's when panic turned to hysteria, because when the galactic map updated, every species realized Earth had redrawn territorial lines across dozens of sectors without ever announcing it, without ever asking, and without any species stopping. They hadn't invaded. They had simply claimed, and the universe obeyed, because every time someone crossed the new invisible line, the same thing happened. Lights out. Gravity reversed. Ships turned inside out, and not once, not ever did they detect a human on board. The warships weren't crewed. They weren't guided. They were waiting, dormant. Death gods set adrift until awoken. By proximity. In Titan-Z's command core, the lights dimmed as Earth Command connected live. SOR Avance stood again, this time in full combat neural link gear. She didn't salute. The link required no motion, no words. The AI fed her status updates. Phantom class, now online. Atmospheric field conversion complete. Orbital silence field holding. Then Earth's command pulse came through. A single line. They've breached the inner corridor. Sora's reply was quiet. Time to remind them. Below her, the planetary warship roared not in sound, but in gravitational shift. Its hull flexed, plates unlocking ancient systems buried since its creation. Deploying proxy node, the AI whispered. Far ahead, near the Viotric verge, an unmarked moon cracked open. The council thought it was a mining rock. It wasn't. It was another Titan. Half buried, half sleeping. Now awake. Its core reactor lit up the void and pulses heartbeat patterns, like a countdown. But there was no timer. Just intent. And the countdown didn't end with 0. And end with a word. Begin. Titan-Z and the proxy node leapt across the stars in tandem, not warping, not jumping. Shifting. Wherever they appeared. The space around them simply restructured. Alien fleets tried to respond, but commands lagged. Sensors bent, and every missile fired veered into their own ships. SORA didn't flinch. The AI Didn't calculate casualties. It didn't need to. No resistance registered. Not even as a threat, only as noise. And behind them, the real warship, the one no one had seen, remained. Still. Titan Prime. Buried in the gravitational shadow of Jupiter's third moon, awakening. They never saw it. Not really. The galaxy's most advanced races with AI-enhanced perception, subquantum tracking, predictive threat systems, never truly saw what emerged from behind Jupiter's moon. Their sensors registered nothing but noise. No silhouette, no mass. Just a cold, expanding blind spot. And then it blinked. One flicker of light. A ripple across dark space. And in that silence, everything they thought they knew about warfare fractured. Titan Prime arrived with no fanfare. No declaration. No sound. It simply was. Where it moved, gravitational tides followed like predator shadows. Starfields warped. Communications cut to static. Weapons refused to lock. On the Galactic Council's observation deck, 47 species stood in stunned silence. They had mocked Earth's defenses. They had charted every known human ship, studied every orbital defense around Terra, mapped every colony. They thought they understood Earth's military limits. They never even saw the real fleet, because Earth hadn't built warships. Earth had built planets that obeyed orders. Counselor Vore dropped his glass as the holographic feed updated. Not one, not 2 7 signatures, each as massive as small moons, each showing energy profiles beyond fusion or matter-antimatter. Those aren't reactors, said High Commander Vex of the Threx Navy, her voice hoarse. They're stars. Artificial ones. One diplomat vomited on the floor. Another simply walked away, whispering, "We laughed." They were listening. Inside Titan Prime, Sora Vance stood in silence. The bridge was cathedral-like. Tall, vaulted beams of obsidian black lined with memory thread cables. No chairs. No consoles. Everything responded to presence. The ship felt. Her mood and adjusted. Light dimmed. Systems surged. It wasn't a machine. It was an extension of Earth's will. The AI flickered beside her like a ghost, tall, human-shaped, flickering with blue static. "They are watching," it said. Sora nodded. Then let them understand. Titan Prime accelerated not linearly, not through space. It shifted again, folded. One moment it was by Jupiter's shadow. The next, it hovered above the Galactic Council's military capital. It didn't charge. Weapons. It didn't fire. It just hovered. Quietly. An entire city-sized fleet emerged from its underbelly, like falling rain. Planetary drones. Terraforming cores. Atmospheric disruptors. None of them engaged. Instead, they began building, restructuring the orbit itself, converting empty space into fortified gridwork. The Council panicked. Fleet after fleet scrambled to respond. 1,000 dreadnoughts, carriers, scout wings. None reached the orbit. Not because they were stopped, because space itself had changed. The gravity lattice. Titan Prime deployed warped spatial logic. Ships didn't crash, they reversed. Time loops. Light stuttered. AI pilots experienced lifetimes of calculations in seconds, only to realize they had never moved at all. A voice echoed across every come line. Not a message, just a phrase. Human, male, calm. This is not vengeance. This is closure. On the bridge, Sora watched as the galactic forces scrambled in chaos. "They'll never understand," she whispered. The eye flickered. They never needed to. She took a breath, slow, controlled, signaled the final protocol. The eye paused. "Are you certain? We warned them, for centuries. Now we end it." The signal pulsed once. Back on Earth, buried deep beneath Antarctica's ice core. An ancient fail-safe unlocked dot buried since the Exodus War. A final command relay surged through the Terran. Beacon lattice dot. Every Titan-class warship received the pulse dot and shifted again, not into battle, into permanence. Titan Prime began reshaping the orbit it hovered in, converting star matter, planetary debris, even light particles into a fortress sphere. An unbreachable wall, the capital of the Galactic Council, was no longer a seat of power. It was a cage, and Earth would never speak of it again. Across the galaxy, species began to erase the Terran borders from their star maps. No longer to invade, just to forget, because forgetting was easier than facing the truth. That Earth had never been silent. They had been patient. They had waited, calculated, observed. And when they built their final fleet, they didn't make it loud. They made it inescapable. Sora turned away from the view, shut it down. Titan Prime dimmed its systems. The AI complied, and in the void behind her, the final words etched themselves across the stars in Terran code. No species enters human space. Now you understand why.